Muscle cars, a quintessential piece of automotive history, have long captured the hearts of enthusiasts and casual drivers alike. But what exactly defines a muscle car? And how has this iconic automotive segment transformed over the decades? Our story begins in the early 1960s. This was an era defined by post-war prosperity, an explosion of American industry, and a newfound love affair with speed and style. In the automotive world, manufacturers were locked in a fierce competition to capture the imaginations of the baby boomer generation. The result? The birth of the muscle car. The first true muscle car is often credited as the 1964 Pontiac GTO. Pontiac took a mid-size sedan, the Tempest, and gave it a heart transplant, dropping in a massive 6.4-litre V8 engine. What made the GTO special was its combination of affordability, accessibility, and sheer power. Suddenly, performance wasn't just for exotic European sports cars or high-end luxury vehicles. For around $3,000, the average Joe could own a car capable of burning rubber and making a statement at the stoplight. The GTO's success didn't go unnoticed. Soon, other manufacturers jumped into the fray. Chevrolet introduced the Camaro, Dodge brought us the Charger, and Ford unleashed the Mustang, a pony car that would later muscle up with its Shelby GT300 variants. By the late 60s, the streets were alive with the thunderous growl of big block V8s, and drag strips across the country were packed every weekend, with enthusiasts eager to test their car's mettle. The Golden Age. During this period, automakers pulled out all the stops, creating vehicles that are still legendary today. Models like the Dodge Challenger RT, Plymouth Barracuda, and Chevrolet Chevelle SS454 exemplified the spirit of the era. Bold designs, outrageous horsepower, and a no-holds-barred approach to performance. One of the defining characteristics of muscle cars during this time was their individuality. Each brand sought to outdo the others, not just in terms of power, but also style. Cars like the Plymouth Roadrunner, with its cartoon-inspired logo and horn that went beep beep, embodied a sense of fun and rebellion. Meanwhile, Ford was busy refining the Mustang, introducing Boss 302 and Boss 429 variants that became instant classics. But as the saying goes, all good things must come to an end. By the mid-1970s, muscle cars faced a perfect storm of challenges. Rising insurance costs, stricter emissions regulations, and the oil crisis of 1970 forced automakers to dial back on performance. Engines shrank, horsepower ratings plummeted, and the muscle car's dominance began to wane. The late 70s and early 80s were tough times for muscle car enthusiasts. Many of the iconic models either disappeared altogether or became pale shadows of their former selves. The once mighty Chevrolet Camaro Z28, for instance, saw its power output dwindle to under 200 horsepower by 1975. Similarly, the Mustang had morphed into the underwhelming Mustang II, which prioritized fuel efficiency over performance. This period, often referred to as the dark ages of the muscle car, was marked by a shift in focus. Automakers prioritized economy and safety over speed and style, leaving enthusiasts yearning for the glory days. Still, a few glimmers of hope remained. The Pontiac Firebird Trans Am, for example, retained some of its swagger, thanks in part to its starring role in the 1977 film Smokey and the Bandit. But for the most part, the muscle car's roar had been reduced to a whimper. The comeback, late 1980s to 1990s. By the late 1980s, the tides began to turn. Advances in technology allowed automakers to extract more power from smaller, more efficient engines. At the same time, a new generation of enthusiasts was rediscovering the appeal of classic muscle cars, spurring a resurgence in demand for performance vehicles. One of the key players in this revival was Ford. In 1987, the Mustang GT returned to form with a fuel-injected 5.0-litre V8 that produced 225 horsepower, a significant improvement over its predecessors. Chevrolet followed suit with the third-generation Camaro Aerox Z, which offered improved handling and performance. Even Dodge, which had largely abandoned the muscle car market, began hinting at a return to its high-performance roots. The 1990s saw further advancements in powertrain technology, including the widespread adoption of electronic fuel injection and multi-valve engines. Cars like the fourth-generation Pontiac Firebird Trans Am and Chevrolet Camaro Z28 brought back the thrills of the past, while models like the Dodge Viper redefined what American performance could be. Although not a muscle car in the traditional sense, the Viper's 8.0-litre V10 engine and outrageous styling rekindled America's love affair with raw power. The modern era. Fast forward to the 2000s, and muscle cars are experiencing a full-blown renaissance. This new era is defined by a perfect blend of classic design cues, modern technology, and jaw-dropping performance. Automakers have embraced the nostalgia of the past while pushing the boundaries of what's possible. Take the Dodge Challenger, for example. When it was reintroduced in 2008, its retro-inspired design paid homage to the original 70s model, while its performance variants, like the Hellcat and Demon, delivered unprecedented levels of horsepower. The Hellcat's supercharged 6.2-litre V8 produces a staggering 707 horsepower, making it one of the most powerful production cars ever built. And if that wasn't enough, the Demon cranked things up to 840 horsepower with race fuel. Ford's Mustang has also evolved into a global performance icon. The introduction of the Shelby GT500 with its 760 horsepower supercharged V8 demonstrates that the Blue Oval is still serious about delivering heart-pounding performance. Meanwhile, Chevrolet's Camaro continues to impress with its balance of power and precision. But today's muscle cars aren't just about brute force. They're smarter, safer, and more efficient than ever before. Advanced features like adaptive suspension systems, launch control, and driver assist technologies have made these cars more capable and accessible to a wider audience. And let's not forget the role of electrification. Models like the Ford Mustang Mach-E, while controversial among purists, represent the future of performance, blending instant electric torque with cutting-edge technology. So what is it about muscle cars that continues to captivate us? Perhaps it's their ability to balance raw power with everyday usability. Or maybe it's their rebellious spirit, a reminder that driving can be more than just getting from point A to point B. Whatever the reason, muscle cars have left an indelible mark on automotive culture.